Hello there, welcome to Nerd.World Films. This is the first episode of a new series that I'm starting. I've still been trying to find my feet a little bit with exactly how I wanted to do some of these movie episodes. And this one's going to be the first of an explained series where I'm going to talk about what makes a film so good. What is it? What magic have they put into it that made it so awesome? So basically you're going to get a basic breakdown of the plot, the characters, and whatever else bits of trivia I can think of that pretty much make this film awesome. And we're starting with one of my personal favourites, and I think I've mentioned it in previous videos, Death Machine. Partly because I've rewatched it recently. I've always rewatched this film recently. It's amazing, I love this film. But also because it stars the legendary Brad Dourif as the villain, shockingly. And with that said, like, share, subscribe, and let's just get started. Okay, starting with the basic plot of Death Machine, you've got basically this evil corporation, right? Your universe is Weyland-Yutani, in this case the Shank Corporation. Their area of specialty is weapons. They're developing currently a new weapons platform called Hardman. Hardman is a part human, part machine hybrid technology to create the ultimate soldier. Now, so far it's not been very successful and has been pretty much resulting in a lot of civilian casualties and usually the either going insane or dying of the test subject. The idea of the program is to remove all emotion while at the same time strapping you into a sort of mech suit of sorts, a set of power armor, which increases your strength and comes with fully automated weapons and rocket systems and all kinds of stuff built into it. The brainchild, and literally his brainchild behind this, is Jack, played by Brad Dourif, who is part the main villain of this movie, but he's a genius, and Shank used him for his genius. He makes all their best weapons, but this guy is also a sociopath. Now he lives in like basically the basement of the building, and he's surrounded by little He-Man toys and all kinds of other comics and other apparel, which basically speak to this guy's bonkers nature. Now, one of the board of directors of the company, Kale, she gets wind of the program and the horrible things that have been happening, and she basically wants to know why they've kept this guy around. So ultimately the board are all scared to fire him because they're afraid he's going to kill them, and we'll get to why in a second. Now she just out and out fires him, but not before he has a chance to become a little obsessed with her, because she used to be basically a topless model years earlier. He gets a little bit of a chance to become obsessed with her because in amongst all of his comic books are infinite porn magazines. Now, once she's fired him, she revokes all of his access, but unfortunately for them, at the same time, a group of humanitarians want to break into the building to shut down the program and expose all the illegal operations and experiments that Shank have been conducting. These effectively humanist warriors shut down the building, but they also want access to the main vaults of information. Jack agrees to give him this information because she just fired him, and he tells them a way to drill into the vault they want to get into through Vault 10. Vault 10 containing his ultimate killing machine, the Warbeast. And all hell breaks loose once they let that thing out, because once he lets it out, he sets it on them. And says he'll only stop it if she agrees to merge with him, as he phrases it. And basically the then story of the film is them trying to escape the building from the top floors down to the basement floors to get out before the Warbeast kills them all. And that's the basic story of the movie. Okay, moving on to the cast of this. As you can see, easy for this, flick to IMDb, just easy remembering it. You've got just interesting cast. Obviously Brad Dourif as Jack Dante, which great name. Eli Pouget as Kale, and this is where I like all the beginnings of some of this movie's Easter eggs. You've got Scott Ridley, you got the character Weyland, the character Yutani, Sam Raimi, John Carpenter. This film was made, and you can feel it when you watch it, was made by movie fans. Most of these people have some horror pedigree, the most of which obviously is our friend Brad Dourif here. And I just realized it before I come off this. We've got Porkins in this movie. I completely forgot this dude was in this. Or at least I didn't forget, I just kind of forgot when I was talking about it just then. Obviously, Porkins from Star Wars, the late William Hootkins. Just a lovely little thing there to mention. And obviously his IMDb is filled with just fun movies he was in. Moving on. Now, onto one of my favourite aspects of this movie, the titular Warbeast itself. Now, I have done videos on this machine before, at least I've included it in some of my other lists, both on this channel and the other. But basically, it's a huge hulking robot. It's not overly bright. It's not like your super smart Cylon killing machine or anything. This thing's pretty dumb. But it's very powerful, very fast. It has no projectile weapons or anything, but it's basically moving claws and teeth. And it's bulletproof, fireproof, shockproof. We see this thing, well, we see them machine gun it, we see them blow it up, we see them drop it down an elevator shaft. Basically, they do everything but rain fire and brimstone down this thing, and it just keeps coming. It takes some damage, minor, but it mostly has redundancy systems, so it just sort of reworks itself and just keeps on coming. The machine is designed to terrify. It's not just a pure thoroughbred killing machine, it's designed to scare you. This is partly a technology that Jack had developed, which is part of the machine's tracking system. It needs you to be scared in order to more effectively hunt you down and track you. It's also designed to intimidate other people, so it's not just the person that is killing. The idea is this thing's designed to intimidate other people. It's what he calls a frontline morale destroyer. Basically, you drop this into enemy trenches. It might not kill too many of the enemy in and of itself, but it'll rip them to shreds and scare the living hell out of them. And that was the real menace, the real factor of this weapon that made it so dangerous. And I love it for it. The machine is so cool to look at. I mean, it kind of resembles a sort of, if someone like, I don't know, cyberformed a gorilla or something, is what it kind of looks like. But it's just a nasty piece of machinery created by a nasty human being. And I wouldn't want to encounter it in the real world, but in a movie context, fucking love it. Now, with all that said, this film holds a very special place for me. I came across it, I think, completely by accident. I think I saw Brad Dourif on the cover, and I thought, yeah, I'll give that film a watch. I probably found it in a bargain bin somewhere. I don't even remember where I bought the thing from. I know I had it on video long before I had it on DVD. This film is a 1994 movie, after all. And it's not exactly big budget. It's not, you don't see, it's not like Terminator or RoboCop, where you see some decent special effects or anything. It isn't, but everything's done practically and it looks polished, it looks good, and it's well acted and well played, and you can tell that the cast and crew are having a blast making this thing, because everyone just seems happy, especially when you watch all the behind the scenes stuff. Everyone is just having a good time, and it reflects in the movie. Their performances, everything, it makes the film very enjoyable. I'd recommend it to anyone, especially if you're a fan of basically the subgenres of sci-fi, which include big hulking monstrous robots and basically battle royale style, or style-ish survival. The film is definitely worth a watch. And moving on from that, we'll move on to the nerd score. Okay, so nerd score. In brief, this movie, one of my personal favorites, one of my childhood favorite movies, or teenage years favorite movies. I did college projects on this thing. I have done other videos on this thing. I did videos on it years ago as well. I think I wrote papers on it. I think it's a mastercraft in low budget sci-fi horror. It's the way you do low budget sci-fi horror right. The film doesn't have a lot of deaths in it, but some of the greatest films don't. You don't really see too much of the Warbeast in this movie, but again, you barely see anything of the Terminator in the Terminator movie. Sometimes less is more, ladies and gentlemen. And this film is less is more in every way. Less budget, more creativity. The film is, as I said, one of my personal favourites, and although again there are not a lot of deaths, the deaths that are in it are bloody spectacular. And as a result, I am going to give it a nerd score of 5 out of 6. The only reason it's not getting the absolute fanfare is simply because sometimes its low budget does let it down a little bit, and some of the dialogue some of the set pieces, things of that nature, do let this film down just a little bit. They don't take you out of it or anything, and it's not exactly dated, it's aged really well, but sometimes it lets itself down just a little bit. So 5 is still a respectable score. And with that said, thank you for watching. See you next time. Please like, share and subscribe to this video, as this channel in particular is definitely still growing. I have very few subscribers on this channel, and at least currently when I made this video I did. Hopefully that's going to change. Move over to my second channel, Nerd.World, which is a much more generalist channel. It's also my main channel where I mostly focus on TV series. I think there's even a video on that channel that includes this one that I'll try and link in the description, or in card, or at the end, or somewhere if I remember. And thanks again if you made it all the way to the end. You're a wonderful human being, and bye bye.